What is up, my fellow YouTubers? John with SoCal Outdoor Adventure. It's great to be back with you. Today we are doing a final review of the BeyondHome 6-person instant tent. I've had this tent now for over a year, and I have to say I have been pretty impressed with this particular tent from BeyondHome. The reason for the purchase of the instant tent was because oftentimes when my family and I go camping, we leave as soon as I get out of work unless I request a day off, and we want to be able to get to our camp and set up quickly. So let's go ahead and talk about this tent because this tent has helped us a lot. So this tent here is by a company called BeyondHome, and as you can see, the picture shows that it sets up in about 60 seconds. Well, part of that is true with two people, but if it's one person setting the tent up, it can usually take anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes. It depends as to how good you are with setting up this tent, but so far, this tent has honestly been a godsend for us. Now, the dimensions of this tent is going to be 120 inches long by 108 inches wide by 66 inches high. So when you walk inside of this tent here, if you are beyond 6'2" and you're looking for a tent that's going to allow you to go ahead and change your clothes, this tent may not work for you if you are 6'2" or higher. Now with me, I am 6'2", so I can still pretty much walk into this tent and I can still go ahead and change my clothes, which is not a problem. But if you are anything taller than 6'2", you may want to look into a different style of tent. But for us though, this tent is perfect. The approximate weight of the tent when all put together is about 16.8 pounds before taking it out of the packaging. The tent comes fully assembled. Again, this is an instant tent and it does come with tent stakes included within the tent. There's about 12 tent stakes, but since I live in California, one of the things that I had to do was I had to upgrade my tent stakes. So I bought these heavy-duty titanium steel tent stakes, and these tent stakes have been working phenomenal for this tent setup, and we use these stakes all the time, in which you'll see as I go through setting up the tent in later on during this video. Next, what we're going to go ahead and talk about as far as the tent is concerned is we're going to talk about what this tent primary use is for. Now, according to Amazon.com, this is where I purchased this tent from, and as a friendly reminder, everything that you see here is all bought and paid for with my own money. I am not being sponsored by any company to do a review of this full-on tent. So, according to Amazon.com, this tent is designed for traveling, beach, picnic, camping, and hiking and car camping. So, all that information that is talking about for this tent is very much true, and that's pretty much what this tent is designed for. As far as the seasons is concerned, this is designed for both summer and fall seasons. The included materials that are included with this tent is going to be, of course, the carry bag, the inner tent and frame, a welcome mat, stakes, peg bag, rain fly, and a gear loft. The gear loft is something that we typically don't use. This tent is windproof and allows excellent ventilation. Now, one of the things that we do have when it comes to setting up this tent that I've added recently was a simple ground tarp, and that is an 8.5 by 10 foot ground tarp. And basically what I'm using for the ground tarp to keep the underside of my tent protected is I'm just using a very simple tarp that I purchased from Harbor Freight Tools, or you can get these at Ace, wherever it is that's going to cost you the cheapest. So as you can see, the first video that you are seeing is the initial walkthrough of the BeyondHome Instant 6-person tent. This is what the tent looks like when it is initially set up. And one of the hard parts that took us a little bit longer to set up when we first set up this tent was basically the frame of the tent. That's what took us the longest between myself and my wife, but we managed to get it done. It took us roughly about 2 minutes, but once we get more versatile with the tent, we'll be able to go ahead and set this up a lot quickly. Now, the good news is, though, is that once the tent is fully set up, the tent is very, very sturdy. When the rain fly at the top of the tent is removed, you do have a full open view of the sky if you're in an area that's open. So, for example, if I were to take my daughter to Red Rock Canyon and we were to use this tent, we take the fly off of the tent. we're able to go ahead and see the whole outside sky from above. We can watch the stars. We can also watch the shooting stars fly across the sky. And as you can see earlier within this video, you'll see the tent stakes that do come with the tent. Again, they're pretty nominal. They're not the best tent stakes. So a recommendation I would recommend is that if you live in an area where the ground is hard, I highly recommend that you purchase some better tent stakes for your tents. That's definitely a good recommendation for this particular tent. Second thing about this tent as far as the air mattresses is concerned, according to the information, the tent does fit up to about 6 people, and that is accurate. If you are not going to be using any air mattresses of any kind, you can fit about 6, maybe 8 people easily without the air mats. As you can see, there's currently about 3 air mats inside this tent right now. The 2 big ones, the blue ones there, the light blue ones, that belongs to both myself and my wife. The second sleeping mat that you saw there was my daughter's sleeping mat. Other air mattress that you can fit is that you can fit up to a king size air mattress in this tent if you have one of those portable blow-up mattresses that you can get at Walmart or at Target. You can easily fit one of those king size air mattresses in this tent. The one air mattress I would not recommend putting in this tent is a California King. Now, if you do plan to put all of your gear inside of the tent, which includes your pack or your clothing bag or whatever else you're going to put inside this tent, you may not have enough room. So make sure if you're going to use a full-size mattress to see how much gear you're going to keep in that tent after you complete the initial setup. But all in all, though, fitting a king mattress or queen mattress in this tent is very comfortable. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons of this particular tent. So, first off, the pros. The initial purchase price, let's talk about that. The initial purchase price that the tent was going for right now is originally $189.99. You can get the tent for cheaper on Amazon. When I bought this tent on Amazon.com, I paid $129.99 for this tent on Amazon.com. Actually, no, I apologize. Yeah, I only paid $100 for this tent, and that was a great purchase. Now, currently, right now, there is a special going on Amazon.com for this tent, and it's 41% off. So the original purchase price of this tent is $189.99. It is currently selling right now on Amazon for $112.99, but it's a limited time offer. On the Rainfly itself, it does come with guidelines to allow you to stake out the tent further to prevent heavy-duty winds from coming into the tent. Seasons for this tent is going to be summer and fall. However, in our experience with camping with this tent so far, you can't use this in early spring. Actually, I'm sorry. You can't use this in late spring to early mid-fall. So this tent would definitely be perfect for that. Waterproofness with the Rainfly on top, the tent is fully waterproof. In the amount of times that we've slept in this tent, we have not had any condensation whatsoever. There is a very good amount of airflow. It has 3 vents, one door, one on the back, one on each side of the tent, and on the front door, the fly actually opens all the way to give full-on air for inside of this tent. Now, the next portion that we're going to talk about as far as the pros for the tent is going to be what this tent is basically used for us. And as you can see here, you can see just how tall I am. And right now, when I'm standing inside of the tent, my head is, if I stand straight up on this tent, my head will hit the top of the tent. But if I bend over just a little bit, then I'm perfectly fine, even when I'm wearing a hat. But it's always a good idea to take your hat off when you enter a tent anyway. Now, as far as night sleeping in this tent has been with us on multiple adventures for multiple nights. Last year when we first took this tent out for a test run, we did a 2-night adventure at Foster Red Canyon Park. And then this tent went with us to Lake Kachuma on a camping trip with my father, and my daughter and I, my wife and I slept very comfortable in this tent without any problems, along with Chapo. And you guys have seen Chapo. He's a big German Shepherd, but we absolutely love that dog. Um, let's see here and see if I want to make sure that I am not missing anything else with this tent because I always like to double check my information to make sure of the materials here. Ah, yes, the materials of the tent. Okay. So the materials of the tent in question is going to be made from polyester and also from fabric. Or did I say that? Yes, I did say that. So polyester, PE, ZBS zippers. Um, so once the campsite gets set up, once your tent gets set up, it's very easy to kind of navigate in and out once it's fully active. Taking the tent down, once you get all of your equipment out of the tent, the takedown time on this tent takes roughly about anywhere between 45 seconds to a minute, which is pretty good. So setup time, if you're inexperienced setting up this tent, it'll take you about anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes. Taking down the tent though, after you take all the equipment out of it and you take your air mattresses down, it'll take you less than 60 seconds to set the tent up. And when it comes to setting up the tent, as you can see coming up right now, you'll see that my daughter was helping me set up our tent instead of my wife this time, and she did a pretty good job helping me set up this tent. The cons that I have with this tent, the first con, obviously, of course, is definitely going to be the tent stakes, which I already mentioned before. The tent stakes are not the best stakes that is going to come with this tent. However, if you are going to a place where the land is soft, if you're going to a beach or a park, that shouldn't be a problem. Those tent stakes will work perfectly fine. However, I would recommend upgrading your tent stakes to something a little bit more strong, a little bit more durable. There is no vestibule on the front of the tent, so you cannot leave your stuff outside the door, so you have to bring your stuff inside the tent. Another thing that this tent does not have, which I've heard some people say, it's kind of an annoyance, but it doesn't bother us that much, but it would be nice to have, is I wish they would have added an extra tarp or a canopy on the front of the tent where you can pull it out and a porch, basically, a small porch to kind of help keep everything intact. We had another tent from, I believe it was from Outdoor, no, it wasn't from Outdoor, it was from Coleman. And this tent had a porch and a porch system on the tent, and it was a nice porch system until the tent broke. That's another story for another time. So all in all, the next thing I would say the con with this particular tent is, well, obviously the weight, 16.8 pounds. It is a heavy tent, so this is definitely going to be a tent that's going to be used for car camping and for traveling, but this is not going to be something that I would recommend taking with you when it comes to going hiking for a long period of time. You can fit, again, up to 6 people in the tent with the mid-size air mattress, like the small ones that you were seeing earlier in the previous video. The blue mattresses, along with my daughter's air mattress, you can fit about, if you were to use those light blue air mattresses, you can fit about 4 of those mattresses in the tent easily without all your gear. So you can fit 4 mattresses long ways, and then you can fit another mattress a long way too, but it's going to be right by the door. So well, you understand what I'm talking about, hopefully. With the bigger air mattresses, you can fit up to a king size mattress, depending on how much gear you're going to stow away in the tent. There is plenty of room, and there actually was and is plenty of room for not only myself and my wife, but there was also plenty of room for my daughter and our dog Chapo. Chapo was perfectly comfortable on the inside of this tent, and as you can see, between me and Scarlett, it's very easy to move this tent around when it's empty. When the tent is full, it will be heavy, so it is going to be a little bit harder to kind of move the tent around. So what are my overall thoughts about the BeyondHome 6-person tent, and is this tent worth the money, and would I buy it again? I honestly like it. The BeyondHome 6-person tent is a great tent for camping, at least for us, for my family. We use it a lot. We go camping in it all the time. Sometimes my wife and my daughter will sleep in that tent, or I'll have my own tent, or I will sleep with them and we'll sleep together in the same tent, which is perfectly fine, along with Chapo. Would I buy this tent again at the price that it's at right now? I would want to wait until the sale prices go down, but even at the price of $189.99, that is still a pretty good price for a 6-person Insta tent, in my honest opinion. So, I absolutely love this tent. I think it's a great addition to our campouts, to our adventures wherever we go when it comes to camping. And this tent has become a part of our setup and our living situation whenever we go camping. It's a wonderful tent, and I would highly recommend this tent if you are looking for a good, quick six-person instant tent for your family. Family size I would recommend is about 3 to 4 people, two adults and 2 kids and a dog. Definitely not a problem. If you have a big dog, I recommend 2 adults, 1 child, and 1 dog. Now, Beyond Home does make other size tents that are currently available besides a six-person tent. They do have a four-person tent currently available right now for a grand total of $99 even. Actually, $98 even. They're also selling one for an eight-person tent for around $179, which is $10 cheaper than a six-person, which I find kind of funny and also odd. And then, excuse me, they also have a 10-person instant tent that is currently selling right now for $199. So that's pretty good price range for these type of tents. So overall, we absolutely love this tent. We can't wait to continue to use it in our further adventures. Eventually, we will follow up with a final word to let you know how this tent is doing on our adventures. But this tent, though, we absolutely love it. It's come in handy. It's a great tent to have. And if you guys are looking for a great tent to use on your next camping adventure, the Beyond Home six-person instant tent is honestly a tent that will be worth having on any adventure you go on for you and your family. I highly recommend Beyond Home instant tents. So I hope you guys enjoyed this better, more thorough review of the Beyond Home six-person tent. If you did, please give it a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And again, I am not being sponsored by any way by Beyond Home to do this particular review. I bought this tent with my own money, and my family absolutely and I love this tent. It's a great tent to have, and we love all the features and the compatibility of the tent, and it works great for our family and for our type of camping trips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, guys, we hope you have a safe and wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Now go outside and have an adventure. And also, too, happy 4th of July. God bless America. Take care.